What's up, guys? FSC Truck Shop. Well, Matt, it's time to finally get this thing out of our way. What we have here is a 12 V71 Detroit diesel we bought off a place in Ohio. Now, in the last video we discussed that crack in the block down there, and it appears that maybe it was repaired prior, I'm not sure. This engine has a weird history. I started noticing something a while back when I was looking for a 12 V71 on Facebook Marketplace. I did find one that had, well, looked exactly like this, except it was this color right here. It disappeared and I didn't really think about it. I saved it and the guy didn't delete it off Marketplace. And then this engine showed up. What I didn't realize is I was scrolling through after I bought it, I was looking at the different ads and realized that the tag on the side of the last time this engine was professionally rebuilt was in 1978. But I noticed the tag around it was the same color. And I looked at the two different ads, realizing that the first ad I saw that disappeared was this engine painted this color. I then realized that the guy I bought it off of bought this engine from the original ad, repainted it, and then sold it back off to me. Now, I'm not saying the guy burned me on it. I don't think so. For what I paid for it, even if the block is destroyed, I think I have plenty of parts here to warrant the price I paid. However, he did have another one that was in a truck frame that he was going to use for himself. He thought either he would use this one for parts or he would just simply keep it. When I tried to bring him down on his price, he told me straight up, that's as low as he's going to go. It's worth more than that in parts. And to be honest, I agreed. So I'm not going to fault the guy if he happens to be watching my vlogs. I'm not saying I got burned. I simply think for the price I paid, I have a rebuildable core, maybe a block issue, but we'll find out. With that being said, Matt, the thing is hunky, clunky, and it's in our way. So eventually we're going to be moving to a different shop, and this is a lot easier to move if you don't have a forklift if it's torn down. Plus, you do want to start checking it out and seeing the condition of the components, maybe sending a block out to the machine shop to see about getting that repair checked, or to see what's going on with that crack. Send the heads out to get checked, start sending components off to find out, okay, what do we have, and eventually start a slow process of rebuilding this engine to a working condition to be put in a semi-tractor trailer and then start using it for a 4-axle truck application. Once that gets started, you'll see it on the original channel, FSC Trucking. So we're going to start tearing this engine down. So if you're me, where do you think you would start on tearing this down first?
I would start with the top and take off intake, then move to valves and heads, but first get the intake and blowers off.
Okay. Well, first thing I want to try, granted it's on a pallet, I do want to try to see if there's any oil in it, and drain it and see what kind of stuff comes out of the oil. In the last video, we just cranked it over and made sure that the pistons moved, meaning that we didn't have a thrown rod, which is what cracked that block. But either way, I want to see if there's any stuff in that oil. That's the first thought. But yeah, obviously work then from top down. So let's get started. Figure out a way to get the oil out of there on the pallet. Cool. Now guys, I want to start out by saying something. I by no means am the authority on Detroit diesels. In fact, if you're watching this video, it's a very good possibility you know more about these diesels than I do. Fact of the matter is, I don't need this engine to make a living yet, and I want to learn about them. So the easiest way to learn and teach my young son here is to work on one together. So don't take what I'm going to do with this engine as the authority. Just take what I'm going to do with it as, well, what did FSC do? And what maybe you should or maybe should not do. We'll learn together. That's the whole point of the video series. So with that, let's go ahead and drain the oil out of it. But first, let's see if there's even oil in it. A little oil at the top, and there's a pretty good amount on the bottom. It's, according to the dipstick, it's over full. Dirty, black, sooty looking oil. I don't know, maybe the engine, I'll tell you what, with oil that black, this engine had to have ran before it got taken out of something. That's not clean oil.
No.
Now, granted, that oil could be 30 years old. Now, while Matt goes ahead and pulls the drain plug out, now this engine, I'm told, supposedly comes out of a Terex, but I don't know if that was like a dump truck or a road grader or something. Probably painted this original color. It looks Terex green. I don't know, I've seen Terex cement mixers running down the road, so I really don't know what this application was. Granted, the accessory is in the front. Granted, the accessory drive is in the front, not in the back like you typically see on a Detroit with a truck. However, being it's a 6-cylinder, meaning 6 cylinders long, it's a 12-cylinder, however, V12. there's enough room in the back to put the accessory, so it has to be in the front. I don't know. Do I have to change it to put it in the back? So there's a lot of things that may have to be changed to make this into an actual truck engine. I do notice a few other things different from traditional truck engines. Is this water manifold here coming from all your exhaust jackets. I guess this adds extra cooling. I do know from watching some other YouTube videos to watch out about your thermostats in here. You can literally overheat one side of the engine and not know it if your gauge sending unit is on the other side. So there's a lot of interesting tricks to the trade out here with this thing. So we're going to start tearing it down and learning it. Getting that plug out?
Yes.
This is going to be a pain in the neck to get it drained, but probably the only way.
Oh, I saw water.
Oh, you saw water?
I saw a little bit of water.
It may have been from sitting.
It is
in storage.
overflowing onto the ground.
Oh, it's. Oh, we got kitty litter. Get that out. A little more confidently and quickly. Oh, what a bloody mess this is going to be. Oh, it's flowing out right on. It's got to be coming right out. Oh, we got a big mess back there. Go ahead. I'll keep this up, get the litter. Here's for catching most of it, boys and girls. Make more of a dam so it doesn't go far, you know, contain it, not necessarily pick it up.
Yep.
They got all new bags. It's starting to slow down, so I think it's basically empty. They're right here too. Yep. Okay, boys and girls, so now we got the oil cleaned up, well, 3 kitty litter bags later. So I found on the internet, one of the guys at Dying Breeds Diesel, I'm pretty sure it was, maybe a Detroit 2-stroke forum on Facebook, somebody emailed me a copy of a V71 series repair manual, basically, out of an old Army manual or something. So either way, I made this nice little binder here. So what we don't know, we have 600 and some pages worth of Detroit knowledge right here. I don't even want to think about how long that took to print.
Yeah.
So what we're going to start doing is basically work from the top down, and then where we get a little confused as to what we do, we'll just look in the book as to how to do it. So for now, we'll just start getting the valve covers off and then continue working our way down.
Will do.
Okay. These valve covers might be the easiest valve covers in the world to remove. You know, one thing I noticed too is there's ones with like a big gasket and a nut, or sorry, a bolt that goes through, and then there's, I think, the old style, which is what these are. I'm guessing these are old style. I have seen these in chrome in pictures. I don't know if I'm going to bother chroming the valve covers, but it might be an interesting look. There we go. You know, funny thing is, that looks real clean compared to the oil that came out.
Yeah,
but
right.
Lord knows how long it sat.
Yeah.
All right, set these down over here. Came out. The next thing I think I would take off, well, that could come right off. That's not even bolted down.
Nope.
That's some kind of a water manifold for cooling the exhaust ports, I'm assuming. Certainly is extra compared to what I usually see on trucks. This one isn't even bolted on either, but there's a rubber here, so.
Do you want me to cut it?
No, I think I can just lift it and That works. So what do you guys think? Should we run these or block them off? Leave comments. Any Detroit experts, what would you do with these? Run them or get rid of them? To me, extra cooling sounds like a good idea, though.
Yeah, it does.
Put that over there. Okay, Matt. I guess the next step would be, well, could we put this on to keep it from getting crap in it while we drove it home.
Yep.
I guess next would be take the manifold off between the two separate blowers. Bear in mind, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm pretty sure the next one's going to be straight through.
Okay.
Because you can't get them. See here, it would.
Yep.
There's going to be a bolt there somewhere.
Okay.
So go ahead and I'll take the tape off. It's like 9/16. Spin them off quick. What are they called? The iron nose 230s or 330, whatever the hell they were called. You know what I mean? It's got one air filter. Mm-hmm. Would we run it through there, or if we put it in something, say like a 359 or a stretched out cabo, where we can run dual air cleaners and run each one to each individual blower. And I still don't know whether we're going to go turbocharged with this or not. I did hear one that was turbocharged and it sounded awesome, but it was very well, you're gonna have to do a lot of modifications to this engine to make it turbocharged. Lord knows if it's worth it or not.
Yeah.
Where's your bucket?
Right behind me. Did you get all 4 out?
Huh?
Did you get all 4 out?
No. You guys spin them with the... Oh, these are down in at an angle.
Yep.
And they're not... This isn't what you use. It's 5/8. That's what you use... Oh. Where's that? There are screens on top of the blowers to keep you from accidentally dropping stuff down into the blower.
Oh, I thank you for noticing. I did not notice that. I was just gonna try to get them out my hand when I'm going
Excellent. These screens come off.
I was gonna leave them on until...
Right, but they're just loose. We're gonna take them out anyway, so. Put this with it. All right, boys and girls, so now it appears to be the blowers both are driven from the back side of the engine, and there's looks like some kind of a, I'm gonna guess, an oil feed tube to feed the blower. However, I don't know where the one is for the forward blower. Maybe it's part of the governor assembly here. So I'm gonna have to consult the book as far as how to take the blowers apart, but if I were to guess, I would take both water manifolds here off the side along with this front tubing, and I would guess that the governor assembly comes off, then the forward blower, then the back blower. That's what I'm figuring. At least that's just the way it appears to me. So with that, let's go ahead and consult the book and see. The thermostat's still in there? Yes. We'll show the camera. The thermostats are still in the one housing. So apparently it's got 4 stats, 2 each side. The way that's set up. All right, cool, put that over there. Awesome. Might be loose already. There we go.
I don't want to snap anything.
There you go. All right, both thermostats are in there still.
Good.
All right, cool, put that away. Excellent. In consulting the book, I found out, yes, this is an oil feed, because this is the back rear blower that's back of the engine. This one is fed from the block coming vertically up into the blower. But apparently we have to take the governor apart, the rods that work, see here, watch. When you hit your throttle, see your rack's kind of sticky.
Yep.
I'm not sure which one's the throttle, which one's your shut off. Maybe somebody else knows. Maybe this the throttle? Probably. It looks that way, it both works. So either way, the governor here works your rack.
Okay.
And your rack is what makes your engine inject more fuel or less fuel.
Okay.
So either way, this has to come apart. There are rods. These rods go up into the governor. The governor and fuel pump, that's your fuel pump here.
Okay.
The fuel pump, governor, and forward blower come out as a unit. And your rear blower comes out. I don't know if they come out independent of each other or how exactly that works. We got to kind of look. So The governor has to be disconnected. Everything in here's got to come out.
Okay.
Or rather, everything that attaches to these racks got to come out. I don't see any other lines going up over it. The book did mention other lines, but I don't think that's in this application. This cover here does have to come off because I have to undo the splines that come from the blower to drive it from the gearing in here.
Okay.
By the way, there is a difference in the gear ratio of the blower between a turbocharged engine and a non-turbocharged engine. So I can show that up on the screen, but there is a difference. I don't know what else there is, but there is a difference in the gear ratio according to the book. So with that, Matt, why don't you go ahead and take this cover off,
okay,
and I'll start taking that governor apart.
Okay.
This one appears to be the throttle. See, this threads out. There's a spring right here. So I'm assuming that holds the throttle open. Then when you want to shut it, you just collapse the spring and shut it the rest of the way. That's just a guess. Either way, we have to take the rods. This one here goes to this rack. There's another one down in here. Under here. This is the rod. No, that's not the rod. Well, that pulls out and that detaches it from this. This one here attaches to this side of the engine over here. This one seems to attach under, lift that up, and that disconnects this rack right here. Okay, so we can reinsert this, leave that one disconnected. How do we disconnect the other one? It's like a screwdriver. Yeah, takes that off. Yep. I'll tell you what though, this looks scary. You drop this into the engine. And if I drop it in there now, we will be able to get it out.
And I have the cover off.
Huh. Excellent. Man, I'll tell you, that's a dicey situation. You putting this together and you drop this in that engine, man, it'd be a while to fish that out. All right, boys and girls, so now we're going to go ahead and take this apart. So this is just a little cotter pin. Straighten it out. Cotter pin looks like it's seen better days. Push the pin out. Now comes the rod. Right out that hole. There we go. And so we don't lose it, we'll put the pin back in along with the cotter pin. Rebend it. I'll keep that pin from getting lost. Now we'll duplicate the same process here with some much uglier looking cotter pins. Just keeping it from pin falling out.
You got it.
Maybe it comes out the other way. Oh, there it goes. Okay, does anybody know how to duplicate that? Because I did it by accident. Okay, boys and girls, we're going to label this rod because there is a very big difference from your left and your right. This, of course, is the right side of the engine. What would be the passenger side if it was in a truck. Here's your right, here's your left. Probably be very obvious, but I'm going to label them anyway. That way I don't look stupid trying to put it back together. Now the idea is this gear drive spins the blowers, so looks like there's a clip here. Take it out. So it's almost flying everywhere. Put that in the blower bucket. It looks like you take these 3 bolts out and that piece will come apart, separating the blower shaft from the gear inside. And that's apparently where the gear ratio changes from a turbo to a non-turbo blower. All right, Matt, go ahead and spin these bolts out, and that should just slide out. That just threads in, sits in there like that, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a coupler, basically, that holds the blower to the gear. I guess this big nut keeps the gear tension proper on its bearing, and then the shaft simply connects this to the blower itself. So if we put this in there and spin it, I don't know if you can see that at that angle, but the blowers are both spinning.
You cannot see it.
Raise the hand. So now you can see when you take this coupler off and spin that shaft, you see the blowers are spinning. And that's how it transfers power from the rear gear drive up into the blowers. Take the shaft out, made an oily mess again. Take that, Matt, clean that up, put it on table. Okay, Matt, the next thing is find a wrench that fits this. That collar should slide over that tube. Matt, go ahead and take off this bolt, and these 2. You should take this fan clutch assembly off.
Okay.
This one comes back from one head to the other head, and this one goes back here. I don't think these would be oil supply. I think these would be fuel. I really don't know. Let me know what comes out of that tube when you take it off. Now I did notice this right here. This is where your fuel control rod goes from your governor up down to your rack, and this boot keeps the oil from leaking out. However, I noticed that this variant of engine, the part that this boot or rubber hose goes over is part of this alternator bracket. It's not a separate unit like on the other side. The alternator bracket is the tube that goes through. So if we don't use this alternator bracket, I'm gonna have to get one of those. All right, Matt, so now the book calls to take these center bolts out. That holds the blower directly down to the block. And then there are these 4 perimeter bolts each blower.
Okay.
So take those 4 off and those 8 perimeter off. And then according to the book, the front blower comes off first.
Okay.
Then the second blower comes off. So you're gonna have to take these clamps off too.
Okay. As far as I know, we got them all. The 4 perimeter bolts. Well, there's gaskets between the blower and the block to keep the air from escaping, so it either got to lift up or just give it a gentle push with a pry bar. gentle push. Okay, so now it's loose.
The book says to lift up and that way.
Yep. Get lifted up. Slide it to you. It's free. The coupling is simply a chain around a pair of cog gears. Again, take it. Can you lift it by yourself or no? Look at the coupler. It's just a chain.
Okay.
I'll get another in if you need it. So, okay, boys and girls. So the way this works is the coupling is just a piece of chain, like a short little piece of chain, and apparently it fits on the gear like so, and then the other gear goes in there and it spins all together. That's what keeps it together. Interesting setup. Why complicate it, right?
Yeah.
Notice there's a keyway in the middle to keep it from going in one gear too far. Interesting. Excellent. Now you can look right down into the air box. It blows the air right into it and goes around. You can start seeing the cylinders too. Right here, in there, you can see the cylinders on each side. Put this with the blower. Gonna take that off. Probably have to pry it again a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, stand there. I'll give her a little convincing. Go ahead and get the lifting.
There it goes.
A little nervous on that. Yep, slide it out. Yep, oil feed. There's your little rubber deal and your coupler.
Yep.
Can you lift it?
Yep.
Excellent. So now you see the basics. Air gets blown around the sides of the blower and right into the center, and it gets distributed each direction in your air box in air gaps that surround the bottom part of your cylinders. That's the basics of it. Obviously the blower's spilt a lot of oil in the center here, but that's the gist of it. Here you go, boys and girls. Now I got the camera off the tripod. You should be able to see right there's your one of your cylinders right there, right center. Another one there, another one there. Come on the other side of your airbox, and you see the pistons hiding right in there. None of them are down. And then of course you come around the other side of the engine, and the same. Trying to find a piston that's down all the way. There we go. You can start seeing some rings right there in that center one. Cool.
Do you want me to spin it over?
Yeah, if you can. Good. Keep going. Perfect, that's good. Okay, so now you guys see the pistons going up and down in the cylinders. Now opposite of that is what we showed you on the last video, where we took the airbox covers off the sides to make sure that we didn't exactly throw a rod or something and have a severely damaged engine. So you see how that airbox from the inside just wraps around those cylinder liners. So now what we're gonna do is start figuring out how to get these heads off. So Matt, you may as well go get that cherry picker because we're gonna need it. I don't think me and you want to be pumping them off by ourselves.
No.
We probably can, but why?
Exactly.
There's your gear drive tape that spins your pump. Of course, your pump impeller is in here. So, water pump's off.